When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection, and we have no competence. Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice. A couple of good paragraphs, and it's talking about northern New Jersey, draws the prober's eye. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said.
I want to ask you about the Anti-Defamation League, which this week called on you to publicly condemn unequivocally the racism of former KKK Grand Wizard David Duke, who recently said that voting against you at this point would be treason to your heritage. Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, did he endorse me or what's going on? Because, you know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about.
But I guess the question from the Anti-Defamation League is, even if you don't know about their endorsement, there are these groups and individuals endorsing you. Would you just say unequivocally you condemn them and you don't want their support?
Well, I have to look at the group. I mean, I don't know what group you're talking about. You wouldn't want me to condemn a group that I know nothing about. I'd have to look. If you would send me a list of the groups, I will do research on them, and certainly I would disavow if I thought there was something wrong. But you may have groups in there that are totally fine, and it would be very unfair. So give me a list of the groups, and I'll let you know.
Okay. I mean, I'm just talking about David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan here, but...
I don't know, honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
I haven't read it, but I heard the article was not what it should be. They shouldn't be doing that with wives. I mean, they shouldn't be doing that. Melania, as a top model, they sent pictures around to Utah, and it wasn't even, you know, it wasn't even like a naked
followed these anti-Semitic.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that. You mean fans of mine?
Supposed fans of yours posting these very angry.
You'll have to talk to them about it.
But your message to these fans is?
I don't have a message to them.
I want to ask you about comments you made about the judge in the Trump University case. You said that you thought it was a conflict of interest that he was the judge because he's of Mexican heritage, even though he's from Indiana. Yeah. Hillary Clinton said that that is a racist attack on a federal judge.
Oh, I know. She's so wonderful, you know. I mean, here's a woman that should be put in jail for what she did with her emails, and she's commenting on this.
What about the substance of the...
Let me just tell you. It's very simple. I have a case where I have thousands of people have taken this course, and thousands of people have said great reviews, great reviews. Fortunately, just about everybody that took the courses have signed a review, an evaluation, they call it. And it's gotten tremendous marks. Thousands. I don't mean like 2 people. I mean thousands of people.
Right.
Okay. I have a situation where the woman that brought the case. She was the plaintiff. She was deposed. She was found to be a disaster for them as a witness because she gave an evaluation that was like the best evaluation you've ever heard. Wait just 1 second.
Okay.
And she did a tape, like from your camera, saying that this school was fantastic. It was fantastic. They went to the judge, and they said, Your Honor, we don't want her anymore to be our plaintiff. So we said, let's dismiss the case. That's okay. Let's dismiss the case. And he said, no, I won't dismiss the case, and she doesn't have to be the plaintiff.
What does that have to do with his heritage?
I'll tell you what it has to do.
I have had ruling after ruling after ruling that's been bad rulings, okay? I've been treated very unfairly. Before him, we had another judge. If that judge was still there, this case would have been over 2 years ago. Let me just tell you, I have had horrible rulings. I've been treated very unfairly by this judge. Now, this judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I am going to do very well with the Hispanics, the Mexicans,
So
everybody.
no Mexican judge could ever be involved in a case that involves you?
He's a member of a society where, you know, very pro-Mexico, and that's fine. It's all fine. But
Except
I think,
that you're calling into question
he
his
should
heritage.
recuse himself.
Because he's
Then you
Latino.
also say, does he know the lawyer on the other side? I mean, does he know the lawyer? You know, a lot of people say
But I'm
yes.
not
I don't
talking
know.
about that. I'm
Well,
talking
no,
about
that's another problem.
But you're invoking his race when talking
Here's
about
what I'm
whether or not
saying.
he can do his job.
Jake, I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm trying to keep business out of Mexico. Mexico's fine. There's nothing.
But he's He's an American.
He's of Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it, as I am where I come
But
from.
he's
my
an
parents.
American. You keep talking about
Jake.
it's a conflict
Jake,
of interest because of
Jake,
Mexico.
Are you ready? I have a case that should have been dismissed already. I have thousands of people saying Trump University is fantastic, okay? I have a case that should have been dismissed. I have a judge that never, ever gives a... Now we lose the plaintiff. He lets the plaintiff of the case out. So why isn't he canceling the case? So we thought we won the case.
So you disagree with his rulings.
No,
I
no,
totally
no,
understand that.
not
But
me.
you're...
I've had lawyers come up to me say, you are being treated so unfairly, it's unbelievable. Do you know the plaintiffs in the case have all said wonderful things about the school, and they're suing? You know why they're suing? Because they want to get their money back.
I don't really want to litigate the case
You have to.
of Trump University.
Because if he was giving me fair rulings, I wouldn't say that.
My
But
question is...
Jake, if he were giving me fair rulings, I wouldn't be talking to you this way. He's giving me horrible rulings.
I don't care if you criticize him. That's fine. You can criticize every decision. What I'm saying is, if you invoke his race as a reason why he can't do his job...
I think that's why he's doing it.
But
I think that's why he's doing it.
When Hillary Clinton says it's a racist attack...
Hillary Clinton is a stiff. If Hillary Clinton
Paul
becomes
Ryan
president...
today, Paul Ryan today said he didn't care for the way that you were attacking this judge.
Look, I'm just telling you, Paul Ryan doesn't know the case. Here's the story.
Isn't it the
I should have won this case on summary judgment. This is not a case. This is a case I should have won on summary judgment. Do you know the law firm paid Hillary Clinton hundreds of thousands of dollars to make speeches? Do you know the law firm has...
I do. And we've reported, we've reported it on my show.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad. You're the only one. The law firm, wait a minute. The law firm paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to Hillary Clinton for speeches.
Before either of you
She wasn't worth it. Everybody fell asleep during a speech.
Before either of you were running for president, they did. But here's just the fundamental question.
Do you know that they've contributed tremendous amounts of money to her campaign?
Yes.
Do you know they've contributed a lot of money to Eric Schneiderman, the New York Attorney General?
Here's my question.
No, do you know that?
I did not know that.
Do you know that these people went to every Attorney General practically in the country that they could? And do you know this case was turned down by almost every Attorney General from Texas to Florida to many of these states?
Is it not, when Hillary Clinton says this is a racist attack, and you reject that, if you are saying he can't do his job because of his race, is that not the definition of racism?
No, I don't think so at all.
No?
No, he's proud of his heritage. I respect him for that.
You're saying he can't do his job because of it.
Look, he's proud of his heritage, okay? I'm building a wall. Now, I think I'm going to do very well with Hispanics.
Citizen.
You know why I'm going to do well with Hispanics? Because I'm going to bring back jobs, and they're going to get jobs right now. They're going to get jobs. I think I'm going to do very well with Hispanics, but we're building a wall. He's a Mexican. We're building a wall between here and Mexico. The answer is he is giving us very unfair rulings, rulings that people can't even believe. This case should have ended years ago on summary judgment. The best lawyers, I have spoken to so many lawyers, they said, this is not a case. This is a case that should have ended. This judge is giving us unfair rulings. Now I say why. Well, I'm building a wall, okay? And it's a wall between Mexico, not another country.
But he's not from Mexico.
In my opinion,
he's from Indiana.
He's Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it.
But you're not from Scotland because you have Scottish heritage.
Hey, you know what? I'm not building a wall between Scotland and the United States.
I have two more questions. I'm being told we're running out of time. I interviewed Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has endorsed you, and he just wrote a book, and in the book he talks about how he did not vote for Barry Goldwater in 1964 because Barry Goldwater voted against the Civil Rights Act, and he thought that destroyed years and years of great work the Republican Party had done for civil rights, and it alienated blacks from the Republican Party for generations. He is worried that you might do the same thing for Latinos.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Look, he's worried about a lot of things, I guess, but I don't think so. I think I'm going to do very well with Latinos or Hispanics. You know, I employ thousands of Latinos. I employ, over the years, thousands of Mexicans. They're great. They're great. I deal with them. I sell apartments. I deal, I deal with them. By the way, I deal with China. I have tremendous business relationships with China, including having the largest bank in the world of a tenant in one of my buildings in Manhattan.
Right. Let me ask you about, what does the Mexican heritage of the judge in the Trump University case have to do with anything?
I think it has a lot to do with it. First, I've had terrible rulings forever. I had a judge previous to him, and it would have been a very quick case. This is a case I should have won on summary judgment. This is a case, and nobody writes this, and they all know it, but they don't like to write it. The plaintiff in the case was a woman. She was so bad that under deposition, it was over. I mean, she couldn't have been the plaintiff. It was a disaster. They went before the judge. They said, we don't want her to be the plaintiff. We want to put somebody else in. So we said, well, that's fine. Dismiss the case. You have to dismiss the case. Wait a minute. She gave letters, the most incredible reviews of the college you've ever seen, of the university. She gave the most incredible. Then on top of it, we have a tape where she's talking about it in the most glowing terms. You wouldn't speak about your college.
Mr. Trump, what does this have to do with his parents being from Mexico?
No,
How does that...
Excuse me. I'm just saying, we're getting terrible rulings. We go to the judge. We say to the judge, hey, you can't let her out of the case. He let her out of the case. We said, well, if you're going to let her out of the case, she's the plaintiff. If you're going to let her out of the case is over. No, the case isn't over. Okay? Now,
give me the thought process, though. Why? How does this work?
My thought process.
No, for him. How does his Mexican parents have to do with him not ruling for you?
He's a member of a club or society very strongly pro-Mexican, which is all fine. But I say he's got bias. I want to build a wall. I'm going to build a wall. I'm doing very well with the Latinos, with Hispanics, with the Mexicans. I'm doing very well with them, in my opinion. And we're going to see. You're going to see. Because, you know what? I'm providing jobs. Nobody else is giving jobs. But just so you understand, this judge has treated me very unfairly. He's treated me in a hostile manner. And there's something going on. When a woman can be a plaintiff in a case and then say, I don't want to be, and you know why they don't want to be a plaintiff? They didn't want her. The lawyers asked that she not be a plaintiff because they would have lost the case immediately.
So I'm trying to figure out your thinking here, though. If his Mexican heritage, the fact that his parents were Mexican immigrants, is a barrier to him doing his job, why would any Mexican voter vote for you? Wouldn't they be the same barrier, same problem?
No, they're going to vote for me because I'm going to bring jobs into the country.
But isn't it the same problem because you want to build a wall and all of it?
No,
so what if it was a Muslim judge?
By the way, I have so many Hispanics. I made a speech last night. I saw hundreds of signs, Latinos for Trump, Latinos for Trump, all over the place. And you know what? They're here legally. They don't want their homes taken away. They don't want their job taken away. They like what I'm doing. Now, people can come in, but they have to come in legally.
On the Muslim, but what if he was a Muslim, though? You've been very tough on temporary Muslim immigration bans. So would a Muslim judge be? Would a Muslim judge be also out of the question here?
We are allowing tremendous numbers of people coming into this country that we know nothing about. We have a problem in this country. We are going to have big problems. You know, I've been pretty good at predicting things, John. We're going to have big problems. We have people coming into this country, totally undocumented. They don't know anything about them. They don't have paperwork. I've interviewed and talked to the best law enforcement people in the business. There's no way of knowing where they come from. And we're taking them in from the so-called migration. They're being sent all over the country. We have people that don't know what they're doing.
My question is, if it were a Muslim judge, would you also feel like they wouldn't be able to treat you fairly because of that policy of yours?
It's possible, yes. Yeah, that would be possible, absolutely.
Isn't there sort of a tradition, though, in America that we don't judge people by who their parents were, where they came from?
I'm not talking about tradition. I'm talking about common sense, okay? He's somebody, he's proud of his heritage, and I think that's great that he's proud of his heritage.
But you're saying it's a barrier to him doing his job.
Oh, he's not giving me fair. He's not treating me fairly.
And you think it's not because it's because of where his parents came from?
I've had numerous lawyers. Look, I have a case where thousands of people have said it was a great school. They've written reviews where they say it's a great school, not a good school, like great. They gave it the highest marks. I have thousands of these papers. It should have been a summary judgment case, meaning the case should have been dismissed. And I had a judge who was very fair. I have a lawyer that came in when he came in. I mean, the lawyer on the other side sort of entered the case when he entered the case, and we're trying to figure out what that's all about.
Would you have your lawyers say, hey, throw this out because the judges...
Well, I may do that now.
Ask your lawyers to do that.
We're finding things out now that we didn't know before.
Because of his Mexican heritage, though.
No, because of other things. I mean, because of other things.
You've said you want to reopen...
How do you allow a case to proceed when the plaintiff asks to be dismissed from the case? The plaintiff, the one that brought the suit, said, I don't want to sue anymore. I don't want to sue anymore. They didn't want to sue. You know why they didn't want to? Because she can't win the case, because she was a disaster. So the lawyers want her dismissed from the case. They go before the judge and he lets her out. Well, he can let her out, but you have to dismiss the case.
Yeah, I guess I'm just too confused what his Mexican parents have to do with that.
Excuse me. I want to build a wall. I mean, I don't think it's very confusing.
Well,
has nothing to do with anything except common sense. You know, we have to stop being so politically correct in this country, and we need a little more common sense, John. And I'm not blaming. I'm proud of my heritage. We're all proud of our heritage. But I want to build a wall. Now, the Hispanics, many of them like what I'm saying. They're here legally. They don't want people coming and taking their jobs and taking their house and everything else. They don't want that.
And let me tell you, the reason they're doing it is because there's never been anything like this that's happened before. Because you know what, folks? We're going to take our country back from these people. We're going to take it back. These are bad, bad people. And we're going to take our country back from these people. We are going to take our country back from those people, They do nothing. They do nothing. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to make America great again, folks. We're going to make it great again.
It seems like Donald Trump has offended nearly everyone in 140 characters or less. And it happened again on Saturday when he tweeted an attack on Hillary Clinton, calling her the most corrupt candidate ever, with an image of her next to a six-pointed star over a pile of money. Predictably, Twitter erupted, with some critics interpreting the tweet as an anti-Semitic use of the Star of David that played on Jewish stereotypes. Trump quickly deleted his tweet and replaced it with one with a circle instead of the star shape. But thanks to speedy screen grabbers like activist Michael Skolnick, the image lives on as yet another offensive misstep by the presumptive Republican nominee. Now, Trump has been known to retweet apparent neo-Nazis, and earlier this year, he refused to clearly disavow the endorsement of former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke, claiming he didn't know who he was. Back with me are Perry Bacon Jr., David Corn, and Amy Kramer. And Amy, this has been a bit of a pattern with Donald Trump. He'll tweet something. Usually he doesn't delete them. This one he actually deleted. And I noticed that even people on the right, the Eric Ericksons of the world, were horrified by this tweet. What do you make of it?
Well, Joy, I think honestly it was probably a staffer that made that meme and gave it to him and probably didn't think anything of it. And he got obviously backlash, and then he deletes it and puts in the one with the circle. I mean, he's either damned if he does or damned if he doesn't. I mean, Eric Erickson, those that are never Trump are going to go after him and attack him for anything and everything that they possibly can, because they want to stop him. And so, you know, I don't know what, he's not perfect. He's not a perfect human being. Yes, it was a misjudgment, a slight error on the campaign, but you know what? So was Bill Clinton meeting with Loretta Lynch on the airplane. So, you know, let's, Amy, I don't think in the scheme of things, yes, Donald Trump is not an anti-Semitic. Donald Trump is not a racist. Okay. And in the scheme of things, that's what really matters.
First of all, there's literally no equivalence between running into somebody in the Phoenix airport in your private plane and retweeting anti-Semitic imagery. Hold on a second.
I'm a former flight attendant.
Hold on a second.
You don't just run into somebody.
We're not going to change the topic to Bill Clinton. I want to ask you a follow-up question, Amy, without making this a conversation about Bill Clinton. This is literally, this has offended many, many people of the Jewish faith. It is an incredibly ugly stereotype that was tweeted out here. What if this was a staffer? Does it bother you that Donald Trump has people on his staff that would create something like this? And does it bother you that his staff would allow him to tweet out not just this, but retweeting neo-Nazis before?
Joy, look, you know what? The fact of the matter is that Donald Trump is not anti-Semitic. At the end of the day, all of these candidates, they are responsible for their staff. I don't know what happened to that staffer. I'm not sure how it happened. I'm not part of the campaign. But I do know that the people that found it offensive, he changed it. So I don't know what else you can do. It was a slight error on behalf of the campaign. And what else can you say? Move on. In the whole scheme of things, I don't think a tweet is going to make that big of a difference. His daughter converted to Judaism. He has 3 Jewish grandchildren. I mean, to call him a racist, anti-Semitic, that is a far, far stretch. And we know it's not true.
David Corn, let me let you in here, David. You seem to want to get in.
Well, you know, we know, it's been reported today, that this wasn't made up by a Donald Trump staffer, but that actually it was found on a white supremacist site. So yet again, material that's being generated by racists, Nazis, and bigots have been used by Donald Trump on his own personal Twitter account. One time, Amy, one time might be a mistake, but this happens again and again and again, and I don't know why decent people like you are not troubled by the fact that neo-Nazis, white supremacists, people like David Duke are coming out in droves to support Donald Trump. If what I was saying was being seconded again and again and again by bigots and white nationalists, I might stop to ponder why that is, let alone not use their own material and direct my staff to be really careful on this point.
Because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. Where
Go
did
to
that
Twitter.
Come out
it's being
today?
reported by, I think, by Mike. It's at Daily Beast. It's all over your anybody's Twitter feed.
So, Amy, respond to that. Amy, respond to that. Because it wouldn't be the first time that Donald Trump was tweeting things that were sourced on a white supremacist website. I'm assuming that the average person does not traffic or you know, find themselves perusing white nationalist websites. That's something that people ordinarily do.
And I don't think Donald Trump is either.
But why is he retweeting things from them?
Maybe because he liked the tweet, whatever was said in the tweet. I mean, when I retweet somebody, I don't go and look and see what this person's whole life is about. I don't have time for that. Otherwise, I'd never retweet anybody.
You're not running for president. You're not running for president.
I have to be honest with you. I do look. When you retweet somebody, even though we say retweets are not endorsements, you are in part taking ownership of the tweet that's underlying your own. And I'm just saying to you, Amy, I presume that you... Hold on a second. I presume, Amy, that on a daily basis, on an average day, you are not on white supremacist websites so that you would even find what's on them. Right, so that if you're the guy you're supporting for president is somehow finding things that are sourced from white supremacist websites. I'm just asking you, because I asked you before about the white nationalists that are showing up at the convention and you didn't respond to it. Doesn't this bother you even a little bit,
you know
Amy?
what?
A little?
Honestly, I'm not, I mean, those people, I'm not even paying it. I can't control them. I have nothing to do with them. I can't control them. And honestly, Donald Trump can't either. He's disavowed them. I don't know what else you want him to do or say, because that's all he can do is disavow them.
Okay, Perry Bacon. And your comment.
You know, it's striking that he deleted this. So it tells you that this is the one thing he's not really ever said. President Obama was born in the United States. Trump has not disavowed a lot of his comments. So it does tell me that this is one thing he felt. He must think he has some potential for Jewish support, in that he wanted to delete this immediately and change it. So there's a useful thing to know, is that many things he says that are offensive, he does not disavow. This one, he seemed to. So that tells you something about who he thinks might vote for him, who he thinks might not vote for him.
And David Corn, you know, this is all coming sort of at it. I mean, it's a coincidental and inopportune moment. Elie Wiesel just having passed away. This is something that did create a lot of sensitivity, but not just among people who are typical critics of Donald Trump and on the left, but across the board. I mean, this was whether you went to redstate.com or Hot Air or wherever you went, you were still seeing the same underlying criticism. Is this a staffing problem? Does someone need to just take Donald Trump's phone from him? I mean, what is the underlying problem here?
Donald Trump has what you might call a decency problem. His first instinct, and people around him, is to attack and to say things that are offensive, whether it's bans of Muslim. And let's not forget about going after an American federal judge and calling him a Mexican, which in Donald Trump's parlance is an insult. So, you know, we're not seeing isolated events. We're seeing a pattern. And, you know, he can't have a conversation or a political debate without name-calling. So Hillary Clinton is always crooked Hillary when he was facing 3 fraud charges, who's been fined $750,000 by the U.S. government for violating laws earlier in his career. There's nothing crooked about him. It's all part of the same thing. It boils down to a lack of decency.
And you know, Amy, I'll tell you, Amy, you know, when Charlie Sykes, the radio host from Wisconsin, went after Donald Trump, it was on the basis of him attacking Carly Fiorina's looks, attacking Ted Cruz's wife's appearance. There's been the issue issue of accusing Ted Cruz's father of being part of the assassination of JFK. There is the issue with the judge, with Judge Curiel. There was the recent comment that, oh, I think there's a Mexican fighter plane. There does feel like there's a tick, right, that's coming from the candidate that isn't something staff are always doing. What do you attribute this tick to? Why do you think these kinds of stories keep being attached to the Donald Trump campaign? Why do you think it's happening?
Well, first of all, I think the media wants to drive the narrative. But second of all, he's not politically correct. He's never claimed to be politically correct.
Is this what non-political correctness means? Does it mean the freedom to offend? Is that what? Because I hear a lot from people in the conservative camp that they like the fact that he's getting rid of political correctness. In your view, is political correctness? Is it just not being able to offend people? Do you feel that people like Trump should have the right to offend people? And that would make them feel more free?
What I will tell you is that my safety and security for my family and my country, jobs and the economy, those are things that matter more to me than political correctness. And when it comes to deciding who I think is going to keep us safe and get our economy back on track and deal with health care and education, Donald Trump is the one.
And, you know, Perry, I think that Amy gets to something fundamental, because I think that there are two conversations that are going on that are not the same conversation. You have this outrage whenever Donald Trump says something that really shocks sort of the conscience of people who are looking at what he's saying in terms of ethnicity or religion or et cetera. But then you have people like Amy who I think quite sincerely say, I don't care about that. That actually doesn't matter to me. I don't hear you when you talk about neo-Nazis showing up to his events, because I don't care. I only care about my fundamental issue, which is, you know, economics, or him ending, you know, trade or reducing Chinese incursion into the steel market. Is that really what's happening? Are there just two completely different conversations going on that will never intersect?
I think so, in that if you're Mitt Romney, you say, I can never vote for this person. They have views on, they've made comments and they've taken positions that I cannot stand for and I cannot abide by. Versus Mitch McConnell has said, I'm the Republican leader of the Senate. Donald Trump would pick conservative judges. He put out a list of judges. Those judges were all from the Federal Society. I like those people. Hillary Clinton would not nominate those people. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump for president. I think there's a logical, both those positions to me are logical and both have a certain amount of consistency to them, and both have and I understand people taking both those views, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that is what is happening. Perry Bacon Jr. will be back. David Corn and Amy Kramer, thank you both. Really appreciate you both being here.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.